Dr Coatsworth, there are some states that have had very little COVID and so they're anxious about having open borders, and some citizens might think, well, why can't we just keep them closed until we know more about this new Omicron variant? What's your response to that?
Well, I can well understand the caution. We all went through in the ACT in New South Wales and Victoria that experience of having COVID-19 in the community. I think my reassurance would be that those states are coming off very high vaccination rates. They're already within 80%. We're talking about Western Australia, we're talking about Queensland. And it's within that 3 months where you do get your maximum immunity from the Pfizer and Moderna vaccines. So I don't think that Omicron's going to be a large problem for those states. In fact, they're in the best position in the world, arguably, because they're one of the few communities where the virus is coming in at very, very high vaccination rates. So they're well protected.
People have been trained to look at the daily COVID case numbers. How useful or otherwise is that at this point?
Well, it's going to become increasingly less useful. And I think we've been sensitised to that as an entire population, and we need to wean ourselves off it. Why? Because we know clearly now, you only have to go onto the graphs that you can see on Google, that there is a complete uncoupling of the hospitalisation rates from the Omicron case numbers. And my view is that that's likely to continue. Every day we need more information, but we're getting more information to suggest that Omicron produces milder disease than the Delta variant.
If Australia had, say, 10,000 cases of COVID tomorrow, based on the statistics, how many people of that 10,000 would have a mild illness or no symptoms at all?
Well, at the moment, what we're seeing is that the vast majority would. The difficulty with analogy, though, is that every society is going to be different. We know that in South Africa, the demographic curve is skewed towards the younger age group. So we do have to be cautious with with Australians who are more vulnerable to this disease, and that is older Australians in nursing homes. And that's why really the focus now needs to be on boosters for our most vulnerable, a real booster blitz, which is exactly what we're going through at the moment, to get that added protection for our vulnerable Australians.
People are being forced currently to go and have COVID tests in order to travel interstate. That's one of the rules in some places. How possible is it that the reason that case numbers are going up is because compulsory testing is catching people with no symptoms or of illness who otherwise wouldn't be picked up? They'd otherwise be invisible.
Oh, it's plausible. I mean, ascertainment bias is one of the biases that can exist in any public health surveillance program. I mean, what we really want Australians to do is if they're symptomatic, go and get tested. I'm not sure that there's a huge number of Australians suddenly getting tested and we're finding a lot of asymptomatic disease, but it's possible. I think we just need to watch the Omicron case numbers, and public health authorities, we need to share with the Australian people the number of people that are going on to get severe disease. So when we look at the Newcastle nightclub cluster, how many of those individuals actually had very mild or asymptomatic disease? That's what Australians need to know going into the Christmas New Year period.
And aren't those kind of figures publicly available? Like, aren't they being made available?
Well, they are publicly available. New South Wales got a great epidemiology report that takes only about 1 to 2 weeks to catch up with their data. But I'd like to see that almost on a daily basis, just to counter what's going on at the moment. People are understandably concerned, particularly if their state's opening up their borders. So I think it's incumbent upon us as public health professionals and health professionals to be able to share that data as soon as we're able to get it.
Dr Nick Coatsworth, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Leigh Sales. Thanks for watching this story. If you'd like to watch more of 7:30's stories, they are on the left of your screen. And tap on the button below to subscribe and get the latest from ABC News.